Hello, my beautiful crafty friends. Welcome back to Heather Lynn Crafts. I'm Heather, and right now you can see I've got a fresh, clean craft table, a cozy creative mood, the rain tapping on my window just outside, and this adorable little pink box right here ready to be opened. So before I dive in, I just want to make sure you guys understand I do have a scratchy voice. I was at the Seahawks game this past Sunday, and I screamed my little heart out as I am a die-hard Seahawks fan. I am one of the 12th men. My husband and I are season ticket holders and we go to every game. So I have a very scratchy voice, but I am not sick. I promise you. I was just screaming like a little banshee on Sunday to help the Seahawks get into the Super Bowl. So that being said, today we're going to be diving into the Stampin' Up January 2026 Paper Pumpkin Kit. We're going to take a look at everything in the box together, and then I'll be putting my own twist on the designs to really make them my own, because there's everything in here that you need to just create the cards. You don't need to add anything to it, but this isn't something that you have to do, but it is certainly something that I enjoy doing. And as usual, any of the supplies I use today that are still available at the time of this filming will be linked in the description box below for you. In addition to the Paper Pumpkin Kit that you see here in this beautiful little pink box, I've also pulled a few other little supplies that I thought I might use. I don't have anything planned out right now. We're going to plan this out and do this together, but I've pulled a few stamp sets that I think might coordinate with this kit very well. As the way Paper Pumpkin works is in January, you usually get something that's for February. So that gives you time to mail your kits out. So this one, you can see it says January of 2026. So in here is going to be stuff that you'd want to send out for February. So for instance, this one's going to be a Valentine's Day kit, most likely. And then what happens is in November, you'll get a Christmas kit so that you can have your Christmas cards sent before December. And then in September, you usually get Halloween stuff. So it's usually a month ahead of what the actual holiday or theme for that month might be. So because this is the January box, likely inside is going to be stuff for Valentine's Day. So what I've done is I've pulled some items that work with Valentine's. So I feel like flowers definitely coordinate well with Valentine's. And then I've also pulled these recent stamp sets here, the Love Story and the Endless Love, which are hearts and Valentine's. So I've pulled these as items that we might bring into this kit as well. Okay, so another thing is, while we're crafting, I'd love to know, do you usually follow the instructions in the kits exactly? Or do you like to change things up just a little bit and maybe keep most of it the same? Maybe add a piece of bling or a piece of ribbon? Or do you completely change things up? Let me know what you do in the comments below. And later on in the video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about what Paper Pumpkin is. And if you're curious about it, maybe even curious about getting started in one, but you're nervous about it and maybe want a few more details, I am going to go in and talk a little bit more about the Paper Pumpkin subscription to hopefully maybe answer some of your questions you might have about that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and open this beautiful box and see what kind of paper magic January has in store for us. All right, are you ready to open this up? Let's see what's inside. Wrapped in some red tissue paper. In here we've got, first things first, our little Stampin' Spot in Poppy Parade. These are nice to take with you if you're going to a Stampin' Retreat or something like that. You're flying. You don't want to take your large ink pads. These are fun to kind of collect and then use these for travel to different places. So hang on to those guys, or give them to friends if you already have enough of them. These are nice little gifts or little things you can throw in some happy mail for, or maybe a new customer or something like that. And then this one has a little stamp set. Not all the kits have stamp sets, but this one does require stamping. And so let me give you a close up here of what came in this one. Hopefully you can see that without any glare. Let me know if you can see that. And then I'm going to kind of go into detail here. So this first one says Sending Love. This one says Airmail, and it's got some little lines underneath it, diagonal lines. We've got a little row of hearts here, little tiny hearts. This one says You Brighten My Day. This one says Just For You. This one says Happy Valentine. Then this one down here is about the size of a quarter, and it's got like little dots all around, and it says Love, 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 Love. A little heart outline in the center there that you could color in. And then this is one of those old-fashioned, like, I don't know if you remember, like when they hands cancel the stamps on a letter, that's what that does. And then there's a cute little, I don't know if that's a rose or a peony. I'm going to call it a rose. It looks like a rose to me. And roses and Valentine's Day go together to me. So I'm going to call that a rose. I don't know if it is or not, but that's what we're going to call it. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and then let's finish opening up what's inside here. It always comes sealed inside this so that the little pieces aren't roaming around your box. Everything is nice and tidy when it comes in. So let's take everything out here and set the box aside. Okay, put that over here. And then let's bring this in right here. Let's take a look at what we've got. So first things first is this. This is the instructions, and it'll show you the images of the cards that you're going to make. That the kit includes everything to make these cards. And this particular kit includes 3 different card styles and 3 of each style. The kit also includes 3 envelopes to go with each of the cards. So each card has an envelope. So there's a total of 9 cards and 9 envelopes. Now, I like to stretch this and make this go into more than just 9 cards. And that's one of the things we're going to do today. I'm not going to make all 3 of these today. I am just going to do one of the cards and maybe put my own spin on it. It may end up looking something like this. It may end up looking like nothing like that. So I haven't fully decided yet. We're going to kind of just go with the flow and see what comes. But if you are someone that likes to just create what's provided and that's all you want to do, that's also a possibility. And the nice thing about this is that it comes with all your instructions that you need, and everything's pre-cut, everything's ready to go. Has a nice little ruler along the edge here to help you measure, so you don't even need to bring a ruler. All the papers are all pre-cut, cut down to size. You don't need scissors, you don't need a trimmer. Everything you need to put these cards together is inside this kit. And so let's take a look at that. So here's an overview of what comes in this kit here, and then we're going to go open up and take a look at the details. So let's get this out of the way. Let's take the plastic off. Comes back with a nice piece of heavy duty cardboard. And what this does is it makes sure that nothing gets bent. So I have not had any issues with any damage to the products inside at all. I've been doing paper pumpkin for a while now, and I've never had any issues with anything coming damaged. So that is nice. This is a nice big thick piece of cardboard. And I save those and use them for other things because I'm a crafty hoarder, just like I know a lot of you out there are. It comes with the tape that you need. So it's kind of a small little roll of tape. I don't typically use these. I just kind of save them and set them aside and use my own. But for those of you who don't have craft supplies, again, everything you need is right here. It also comes with these tiny stamp dots that you need, the little foam 3D dots to pop up your images. And then in here, we have all of our bits. So let's start with this. We've got our envelopes. And as I mentioned, there's 3 each of each color to go with each different card type. So we've got a total of 9 envelopes here. We've got blue, pink, and green. I'll give you a close-up of those. Hopefully that comes in there so you can really get a look at that colors. They're beautiful. I love them. And then we've got our, let's set these out of the way here first, and then let's look at our card bases. So we've got 3 of these pink. I want to say, let me see, I believe this tells us what colors are in this kit as well. It does. So in this kit, we have Blueberry Bushel, Bubble Bath, Darling Duckling, Garden Green, Mossy Meadow, Poppy Parade, and Gold. So those are the color schemes for this particular kit. The other thing that this kit has is you can do a kit add-on that comes with this die and these florals and this word beautiful. So that is an option too. I did not do that because it doesn't do it automatically. You have to opt in for that. So you can still purchase that until supplies last, it says. So there are those add-ons right there if you wanted to do that. Like I said, I did not do that. So we're going to just work without those. But those are the colors and the materials inside here. So we've got our 3 pink bases here. We've got 3 white bases, which you'll notice are a little bit smaller, and I'll explain why later. So you can see the size difference there between the standard. This is a standard A2 size base right here. And then you can see these ones are just slightly smaller. Does that show? That's translating there, but you can kind of see that. And I'll explain why here in just a little bit, why those 3 are smaller. And then we've also got these 3 bases here, which is a lighter, more bubble bath type color. So we've got bubble bath. This one looks more like a pretty in pink base, but it doesn't say pretty in pink is included in this kit. But I'm going to say this looks more like a pretty in pink to me, because you can see the difference between the bubble bath and whatever color that is. So these are our bases here. We've got 3 of these, 3 of these, and 3 of these. So these are our card bases. Okay, we're going to set those over here. And then we've got our little elements here. So we've got all these different, they look like little postage stamp type galloped borders here. So let's see if you can really take a look at that. This is beautiful. Everything is already pre-printed on here. So there's no cutting, there's no pasting. Everything's already printed on there for you. Just like a beautiful piece of decorated cardstock that has all the images already ready to go. And then we've got these 3 right here, also with the postage scalloped edge. And this is more like a soft seafoam to me, but that could be just a lighter version of Garden Green. It's more bright, so I don't think it's the Mossy Meadow, but that could be a lighter version of Garden Green to me. me is what that could be. So we've got those ones here. Let's set those over here. And then these 3 little punch outs are for one of the cards. Let's see, I think this is this middle card right here. Right here. You can kind of see. So this is that goes with that. And I have heard from other demonstrators that the best way to apply these ones is to flip it over. And as you can see on the back, it kind of shows you, you can see the perforations. So the best thing to do is put your foam dots on it while everything is still attached. Don't punch them out yet. Put your foam dots on and then lay it flat on your card and then remove the outer piece. And then everything will be perfectly lined up for you on your card without you needing to try and measure the distance between each of those. That's just a little pro tip that I've picked up from different demonstrators. I was just at a retreat this weekend and one of the gals mentioned that to me. And so I thought I would pass that along to you as well. Then we have some more bits here. This is a pretty gold foil. I don't know if that's showing up. You can kind of see the shimmer on that. And it's just like a little decorative label type thing there. And then we've got some white flowers with some pink veining. It looks like some yellow centers and then gold flecks inside those centers. I don't know how well that is translating up there. Let's see if we can get that close. Can you see that? These are just really pretty. And then here we've got some, I don't know what you'd call those. Those are like a slanted banner almost. And then we've got some more like labels here. And then these look like little postage labels or stamps. They're like a little bigger than a quarter. They're more like the size of like, I don't know if you remember what they are, but those Susan B. Anthony dollar coins, that's kind of about the size of that there. Okay. And just one of those. And then here we've got a couple sheets of these here, the florals. So I'm going to pick these up without the things coming out. So there's 3 pieces of these, which is your large pink flower. That looks like that is the bubble bath. Yeah, bubble bath and poppy parade. That's what that flower looks like it is. And then over here is probably your blueberry bushel and your garden green here. Those are really pretty. And so you've got 3 pieces of those, and these are just punch outs. Very simple to punch out. They don't require a lot of effort there. And then whenever you get a stamp set from your paper pumpkin kit, it also comes with this little piece of, it's almost like a coated copy paper with all the images on it. So you can store this and keep it for later. And it says up here the name of the kit, which is special delivery. And then that gives you an opportunity to store your stamps from Paper Pumpkin. All right, that's everything in the kit. So what I want to do is start making some of my own pieces to kind of go with this, and then we'll kind of just go from there. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back my stamp sets that I showed you in the beginning. And I think the first thing I want to do is take these floral images right here, and I want to color them myself. So I'm going to show you a cool technique that I like to use with these types of images. So hang tight and I'll get everything ready and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this set right here. This is the Stampin' Up Simply Beautiful. It's a photopolymer stamp set. Has 13 stamps inside. It also has the dies that coordinate, and I like to just put mine on a magnetic sheet like that. So this is the set that we're going to start with. I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm going to pull out the stamps themselves. And one thing I've already done for this set is I've already created a mat, and I'm going to show you what I did to create that. I have a store here that's called, in Washington State, it's called Daiso, and they've got products that the typical dollar stores don't carry, and it's just amazing. It's one of my favorite places. It's where I get a lot of my organizational supplies and things like that for my craft room from. Great quality. Love that store. So if you have one near you and you haven't been, you definitely should go. So I buy these little pads from Daiso, and what they are is they are full stick sticky pads. So not just the top of it is sticky, the entire thing is sticky. So the whole piece of Post-it note is sticky. So it's a full sheet of sticky. And so what I did is I stamped this directly on to this yellow piece of Post-it note. So I took the image and I stamped it on this Post-it note. And then what I did is I fussy cut that out myself with my scissors so that I could cut it right onto the black line. I didn't want to have any type of white border. And then now the whole thing is sticky. And once I've made a mask, I like to just keep it with my stamps so that I can reuse it and do it over and over again. So that's all I did for that. If you don't have this right here, you can just put it on a regular sticky note and then just maybe use like some removable glue dots or something like that to put it down with so that you have that, the full sticky in the back. You do want it to make sure that it's sticky. So then what I'm going to do is pull this image off, move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my Misty here. And you're going to want to be using a black ink that is safe for alcohol markers. And you can see I'm using the Lawn Fawn one. It says up here in the corner, alcohol marker friendly. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can also use if you don't have this one. Another common one that I like to use is the Memento Tuxedo Black. This one is also another good one for alcohol markers. So any black ink that's good for alcohol markers is what you're going to want, because we're going to color this guy. I'll turn my Misty around. Just put this guy in here. Just a blank piece of white cardstock. I'm going to put my flower in the middle here because I'm going to build on this. So I'm going to just pick that up with my Misty. I'm going to grab my black ink and stamp this guy up really good. Just like that. I'm going to stamp it down once. I'm going to run my fingers all over it. My Misty door's looking a little worse for wear there. Need to get some window cleaner or something and clean that off. Okay, do it one more time. Make sure we got a nice, crisp, clean image. Okay, that looks good to me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to put my mask down over the top of that. And I'm just going to line this up over the top of it so that you can't see any of that stamping that I just did. Hopefully this is making sense here. Bring this up so you can kind of see it. So I've just put that sticky note mask that I made over the top of my inked image that I just inked. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the leaves, because what I want to do is have some leaves coming out from here. So I think I want to so you can put this anywhere. We're going to build a different image than what is originally here. So I'm going to put this guy here and have these leaves coming out here. I also want to use this guy right here, which is like a little rosebud and some more leaves. We're going to put this guy coming up from like right here maybe, and then maybe a single leaf down here. Put this one right here, just like that. We put him over off to the side here. So we're going to start with that. Make sure you have your stamps facing the correct direction. I do that all the time. I end up putting it the wrong way. So make sure those are down the right way there. Okay, there we go. That looks good. Let's close this up. Just like that. And now we're stamping these three images here. Go. Stamp this guy out. Ink these guys up also with the alcohol safe ink. And let's stamp these guys down. You don't have to push super hard. In fact, you don't want to push super hard, or you'll end up like with thick smudged lines. So you just want to kind of press over gently. If you need to stamp it again, stamp it again. That's better than pushing too hard and having like smudged images. Here we go. Let's do it again. I'm pressing moderately, not super hard. I'm not putting my whole back into it. I'm sitting in my chair. I'm not standing over it and just kind of hovering. You want to let it sit there for a second, let it soak up the ink. To me, that looks pretty good. Those look nice and crisp. What if we put one more here, right here? Yeah, I like that. So let's do this one more time and then we'll reveal the magic. Oop. Block that down. I'm going to give it one more time. Okay, there we go. And now take this off of here and let's take a look at. So this is what it looks like right now. And the best part to me, whenever I'm doing a masking technique, is removing my mask and seeing what's underneath the image that I created. So let's take that off and see what we've got. See what we did? We created a whole new image that is 100% our own using the stamps that were in there just by using this masking technique. And so now we're going to go ahead and color this guy in. Okay, so to color this in, I'm going to move my Misty out of the way and I'm going to bring in you'll have to forgive me because like I said, I was just at a retreat this weekend and I have not unpacked these guys yet, but these are all my Stampin' Blend alcohol markers from Stampin' Up. I'm going to go ahead and color this image in with these. And because these are alcohol markers, you want to make sure that you put something underneath your image, underneath the cardstock that you're coloring on, because these markers will bleed through and stain whatever surface you're coloring on. So for me, that's how this stuff comes in handy. So this is that thick piece of cardboard that I said came in that paper pumpkin kit. And I'm just going to put this down and color on top of that. I'm going to go with like a pink and green. See, I like this right here, this image kind of given these same, oh, these are really connected here. It's kind of giving these vibes, right? This image that we're doing here, but we're going to make it our own rather than using the one that came with the kit. I like to put my own spin on it. So I'm going to, rather than using this large pink rose here, that's kind of, it almost looks two-dimensional to me. I want to create something a little more three-dimensional. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to attempt to color this in with my Stampin' Right markers. And I kind of want to stick with that pink and like maybe red vibes that we've got going on here. So I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit more here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, so one thing I did do, I created these. This is just really rough. Like I'm going to turn this into something a little bit nicer. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a spreadsheet for you guys and I will link that for you here so that you can kind of sample your Stampin' Stampin' Blends into kind of like a cheat sheet that Copic markers have, where it lists out the colors and then what they look like. So it can kind of help you decide what color you want to reach for. Now, I don't have all the markers yet because a couple of them are still on back order and I'm waiting for them to come back into stock. I know quite a few of them are coming back into stock, I believe, February 9th or 6th. Don't quote me on that, but I will look it up. And if you're curious, I will link that in the description box below for you as well, because I know some of you have been probably waiting for these colors to come in for quite a while, so me included. So I'm going to just have to work with the colors that I've got, and I've sampled them all out. I just kind of took little swatches of the colors and then listed out whether it was the light for L for light and D for dark, and listed out the color that belongs to. And I'm going to use this to kind of help me decide what colors I want to pull from my markers here. So like I said, I want to kind of stay in that pink and red family. So I'm going to kind of work my way through this length of colors here. Still learning the Stampin' Blends. I just got these. So I'm still learning to color really well with these. I have been using my Copic markers for years and years and years, and I can color with those like no one's business. But these they have a different brush tip. They are different colors. They blend differently. So I'm still learning how these blend together and which colors coordinate well and which ones don't. So this is a learning experience still. I almost feel like I'm starting all over again. But typically when I color with my Copic markers, I like to start with my darkest color first and work my way to the lightest color. But I think with these, what I have found is it's almost easier for me to start with the lightest color and then add the dark. And the reason for that is because I don't know the color combinations really well yet. So it's hard for me to kind of know how much color to go with. So as I'm learning, I'm finding it's easier to start with my lighter color. So I think what I want to do is start with maybe this lightest pink right here. And this is Bubble Bath Light is what I'm going to work with. So this is Bubble Bath Light. It's the lightest pink I have in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and just give this one I'm opening up the brush tip side, and it's a dual ended. So you've got your brush tip on this side, and then this is like a bullet nib on this side. There, so you can kind of see. This is a bullet nib on this side, and then your brush tip on this side, which is what most alcohol markers are. I am going to be working with the brush tip today, so that's what this one is. And I'm just going to start throwing some color on this. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit because otherwise we'll be here all day. Sometimes the hardest part for me of coloring is just applying all the color in the places that I want it. So I'm not going to use today as a coloring lesson just because I don't feel like I'm good enough at these Stampin' Blend markers yet. So offer you full guidance on how best to color with these. One thing I do suggest though before you get started is make sure you let your black ink dry fully. I was just impatient and I can kind of see that already pulling that black in a little bit. I should have let this dry just a little bit longer. You can even run your heat tool over that if you want to just make sure that that dries really well. I'm going to speed this. I'm going to stop talking and just speed this up so you can kind of watch me, and then I'll kind of explain what colors I used. Okay, now that we have this fully colored in, I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this out with my scissors, and I will be back in just a quick second. We have our image all fussy cut out. I am pretty happy with how that came out. I did have to use my little X-Acto knife to get this little piece right here in that, I don't know if you can see it, that little piece right here between that little bud right there. I did have to use my X-Acto knife to get that out, so if anybody is wondering. And now we're just going to have to try and put these things together. And I think what I want to do is kind of work my way through this card right here. Since that's where that big pink image is typically supposed to be anyways, I think I'm just going to substitute that image for the one that we colored. You can see the difference between the two images. Both are pink. One's just a little bit more three-dimensional versus a flat two-dimensional flower. They both are really pretty. I would be happy with either one. I just like to challenge myself a little bit and do something different. So that's why I went ahead and colored my own flower. So I'm going to attempt to assemble this card maybe and add a little bit more to it still. So let's pull in the pieces that we need for that, which is this green postage piece right here. We need this gold cutout from this piece right here. So I'm going to go ahead and punch one of these out. I'll just kind of show you how easy it is to kind of punch these out. It's pretty simple. So this is our gold piece, and the way the card is laid out is this goes behind that like that, and then this goes on top of it like that. I really like how this is coming together. Now the other thing you could do, and I think I might want to play with that and see, is if we bring in the greenery. These are sticking together here. If we bring in this greenery and put that behind our flower and see what that looks like, you could do that as well. Okay, so we've got this foliage here that if we wanted to, we could put here and put here. But as you can see, I use Mossy Meadow, right? Am I saying that right? Mossy Meadow on my leaves, and this is the garden green. So let me bring this up so you can see it. I don't love those two colors together. One's very earthy and one's very cool. So I'm going to not do that. I just wanted to kind of show you that that's how it was designed. I'm going to take that away though and just leave it with this. And then the other thing I want you to do is stamp on this guy right here. I do like this, so we might bring this in. This is what the sentiment goes on. It was on this sheet here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I don't like the Poppy Parade with how we colored this, because this original image has that Poppy Parade, that red in the outline here, and we went with mostly pink here. So I think adding in that Poppy Parade, although pink and red are Valentine's Day colors, it would work, but I think I want to kind of stick with the darker pink in here rather than bringing in the Poppy Parade. So rather than using the Stampin' spot that came with it, I'm going to grab like a pink shade. Be right back. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to stamp that in pretty in pink, and let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to bring in my Misty, just make sure I get this nice and lined up here. You could use a Stampin' block if you wanted to. So let's grab, I think the one that's in here just says Happy Valentine's. Now I don't send out a lot of Valentines, so I don't think I want to use that one. So to make this work, we may have to switch out our little sentiment piece, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so a couple things as I'm kind of playing with this off camera here. One thing I do want to change is this card is designed to go portrait, and I think I've decided with the image that we've done, I want to have it go landscape. I just feel like the flower, the direction of the flower and the leaves, it just looks better going landscape versus portrait. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The other thing I've decided I'm not really a big fan of, and I think what my issue is I feel like I want it to be more simplified versus having so much going on. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to take away this background. I do like the gold, but I feel like between the shape and the patterned paper and our colored image. It looks great with this image that the card was designed to go with, but with our colored image, because there's more color going on here, I feel like our coloring gets lost on that designer paper. So I'm going to take this away, and already you can see when I take that away how much better that image stands out on that color. So I'm feeling like that just looks a little bit better there, but I do like the gold. I want to bring some gold in. So what I've done is I've just taken a piece of my regular metallic gold cardstock. You can kind of see it here, how it's like metallic. See, there you go. It's very shiny. So I'm going to bring a piece of that in, and I've cut it down to fit in between the green frame right here, just so that it sits right inside there. I'm just going to put that right across the center there. So then if we put this on here, it looks fine, but I feel like our coloring is getting a little bit lost still because the green and the gold almost blend together. So what I've decided to do is I've just cut out a circle using my circle shapes that have the faux stitching in there. And I'm going to put that down in the center here and put our image on top. And look at that. It stands out so much better. Let me bring this closer so you can see here. That looks fantastic. I really like the way that looks. So we're going to go with that, but we still need a sentiment on here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this stamp set that came with the kit because I do like that. But rather than making this a Valentine's card, which is what this is intended to be, I'm going to use this stamp right here that says just for you. And I think I'm going to try and incorporate this row of hearts in there somewhere too. So let's bring in the Misty. Let's set this aside here. I'm just using that cardboard to be able to transport the whole thing all in one. Let's open this guy up and bring in some white cardstock. Let's go ahead and put that in right here and put our magnet down. One thing to point out too is when you get these stamp sets for the first time, you have to make sure that you season them. They're going to come off here like super sticky, like it's very sticky. So it's got that residue on there from manufacturing, and it will leave spots on your inking when you do that. So what I like to do is just kind of rub my skin on it, gets all that goo from the factory off there. Make sure you get a nice clean stamp impression. So I'm just kind of rubbing my fingers over the top of these images here, get that stickiness away from there. And then I'm going to put this down just anywhere. I'm not even sure if this is going to turn out. We're going to give it a go and see what happens. So I want that to say just for you. And then I want those hearts to kind of just be like an underline for it. Okay, I think that works. I'm going to close my Misty, get that stuck on there. And then I'm going to use my Pretty in Pink ink pad. Like I said, I want to kind of stick with the pink theme of our flower there. So let's just do that. Let's ink that up and see what this looks like. Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's give this one more good stamp just for good measure. There we go. Don't press too hard. There we go. That is beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I like the little row of hearts underneath that. That is really cute. So let's go ahead and take that out. And then I just want this to be like a little banner. I'm going to bring in my little photo trimmer here, just get a nice clean cut here on this. I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. I'm not aiming for perfection here, just get a little there. That looks perfect. And then we're going to bring this out this way. I'm just going to, again, I'm just eyeballing it. That looks good. And looks pretty straight. I'm pretty happy with that. And I think what I want to do is turn this into like a little banner. I like a good banner. So I am going to cut this one off at this end. I don't want this side to be bannered, just for one side. So we're going to cut that one off there. Just cut it off as close to the J and just as I could. Get this out of the way. Actually, let's trim a little bit of this off because there's too much here. Like that. That's not straight. It moved on me. There we go. And then I'm going to grab my scissors again. And then to banner this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of eyeball. Again, I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to this type of stuff. I am a perfectionist in life in general, but for this kind of thing, it's so tiny. Eyeballing is just fine. So I'm just going to find roughly the middle, do a little snip, and then I'm going to go from the corner here, get my scissors on the corner, and go right to that little snip, the top of that snip that we just did there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, from corner to the top of the snip. Line that up, and see, this is where I tend to be a little bit perfectionist. I want that corner to be exact. I don't want to come in either above or below that corner because then it is a flat edge there instead of a sharp corner. Okay, and right to the edge. Looks pretty darn good to me. So now we have a cute little banner, and we're going to put this on our card. Let's bring this back in. And now we have to figure out where we can put this. So one option is just right down here and have it go like that. It does look a little off-centered to me there though. So let's try having it come from here. Actually, we could bring that down right to the right there, but then I'd probably want to have it bannered on both sides, and I didn't do that. So you know what, let me re-ink this back up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've re-inked that and redid that with the banners on both sides. Okay, and then I'm thinking what I can do, I'm gonna put that in the middle there, put the circle here, a flower there, and then we have this whole bottom piece down here. So we could just put that right there. I like that. Maybe even have the flower kind of come up over the top of that a little bit. What do you think? I think that works. Let me see. Let me bring this up to you. There we go. I think I'm liking that. All right. So let's do that. The other thing that this image calls, or this card calls for, is this little postage stamp thing in the back here. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Again, I kind of wanted this to be not so busy, but let's attempt. Let's see. One thing that you can do is if you're not sure if you want to go with something or not, what I like to do is just play with it. So it's got this little canceled postage stamp on there, and then it also has this love one down here. But because this isn't a love card, I'm going to leave that off. We could do the airmail one. That one would work. So let's try that one, and then the postage stamps. Let's give this a try here. Stamp this up. Move it down, stamp it down, move it around. There we go. Okay, let's take this out. And again, we're just testing here. We're not committing to anything just yet. So I'm just going to kind of cut these out crudely here, just to so I can kind of move them around my card and see. I do this a lot when I'm scrapbooking and I'm trying to decide where I might want to place my ephemera and my embellishment clusters and things like that. I'll just kind of make a template of one to play with. I'll do that if I'm trying to decide colors also, not just placement, but like which color do I want to put down? I'll stamp it out in my color choices and then play with it that way. So I've just cut these out really crudely. And then we're going to bring this back down here. And so if I did want to stamp these out, I could put that one there and this one here. See, that one wouldn't work because we'd have to chop it off a little bit. We could put this one up here, like that airmail, and then put this canceled stamp, because it's okay if we cover up part of this one. So we could put this one here or have it coming out this way. Let's see, let's get that underneath there like that. But to me, that looks too busy with both of them. I kind of like the airmail up here in the corner, and then we could put some dots here and here, or some bling, not dots. I'm not 100% convinced yet though. So I do like that idea. I actually kind of like it on the white, even without stamping it directly onto the background, to the base. I'm going to cut this out with my scissors. This is such a tiny piece that leaving it on this white and just kind of roughly cutting it this way is going to be not super noticeable, that it's not super straight. I like that like that. That's very cute. I'm going to not use this one on this card right here though. So I'm going to start gluing this down a little bit, and then we're going to add a little bit of bling. The other thing with this card, this is the one that had the smaller card base, and it comes pre-scored. So all you have to do is just fold it. And then I'm going to get my spatula guy out right here and just run this down, give me a nice clean, crisp edge. Then, because we're going to go landscape with this is going to go behind this. It'll have a postage stamp edge. You won't even be able to see the card base. So let's go ahead and start gluing this down. Okay, we're all glued down. And then I went ahead and I put some gold stickles, which is basically just a gold glitter glue. And I put some stickles right there in the center of the flower. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if that's focusing. There we go. I don't know if the video is doing it justice very well, but it adds a bunch of shimmer and shine to the center of that flower. So the last thing we need to do to call this card down. Oh, the other thing I did is I did go ahead and assemble it to its base, so it's fully secure here. But the last thing we need to do is add some bling. I don't think any card is complete until you've added some bling. And I just want some little teeny tiny blings. I don't want a lot because I don't want to take away from our beautiful picture here. So I'm either going to do something like this, these little teeny tiny rhinestones. Okay, so I also have these here I may try because I just like the gold there. I don't know that, I mean, these rhinestones in here are a little bit gold, but they almost look yellow. So let's try just these little teeny tiny gold, or like half pearl things here. Honestly, I don't even know where these came from. I've had them for so long. So any kind of like gold pearl or anything like that will work. But I'm going to put these in a group of 3 somewhere around here. I'm going to be really careful not to ruin my stickles that I've got there. So I'm just going to kind of cluster these around here. Uneven numbers. And I'm using my Stampin' Up Take Your Pick tool to grab these. There we go. I am happy with that. Let me bring this up so you can see it. You hold on to it so it doesn't fall. We still got that wet stickles in there. So that's what we're looking like. You can see that shimmer and shine in there from the gold paper and the stickles and our little pieces of gold bling in there. Can you see that? Here we go. Yeah. So that's what we're working with there. You can kind of see that sparkle from the stickles there if I move that around. And that's our finished card. I'm going to go ahead and assemble one how it was intended to be, and I'll show you the comparison side by side. Okay, I've got the card assembled as it was intended in the instructions, exactly like it's shown here. I went ahead and put that together, and honestly, that came together in about 2 minutes. It did not take me any time at all to put this guy together. So this is also a very beautiful card. It's portrait mode here, and you can see it's got this love stamp here in the corner. I stamped the Happy Valentine's here and this canceled stamp here in our image. It was one of the fastest things I've ever put together. So the kit makes it so easy. So that's why I love these paper pumpkin kits, because they do come together so nicely. So whether you're a beginner and you're just learning and want some step-by-step instructions, this is a beautiful card. Anyone would be very happy to receive this, and it is handmade. That doesn't get any better than that. Or if you're experienced a little bit more and want to play with items that you might have in your stash and want to step it up a little bit, maybe just use pieces from the kit and design your own card with it, that also is great for these paper pumpkin kits. So 2 very different cards using very similar products, different looks, but both are very pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and pause really quick and clean my table off. I'll leave these cards out, and then I want to talk to you about the paper pumpkin kits themselves. Okay, so if you've never heard of paper pumpkin and you're like, what is that? Paper pumpkin is a monthly all-in-one crafting kit. It's not like anything else you've ever seen on the market. Each kit comes with pre-cut pieces of paper, coordinating stamps, an ink pad, adhesives, a stamping block if there's stamping involved. It comes with step-by-step instructions. You don't need to have any crafting experience or any extra tools. You just open the box and start. You have everything you need. Each month has a different theme. Think holidays, birthdays, thank you cards, seasonal designs, etc. And the projects are designed to look polished and professional without being complicated. As you can see, like I said, I pulled this one together in a matter of minutes. People like them because there's no shopping or prep required. It's beginner friendly, but still fun for experienced crafters too, especially when you add in your own elements and your own pieces from your stash, or take elements from the box and make it your own. You end up with handmade cards or gifts that you can actually use, and you can tell people you handmade that because you most certainly did hand make this project. So that's what the kit is about. Paper Pumpkin is a monthly, no obligation subscription craft kit that makes it easy to create pretty handmade paper projects. It's not always cards, without needing to be a crafter already. If you're thinking about trying the Stampin' Up Paper Pumpkin, but you worry it might be hard to stop if you decide it's not for you, well, don't worry. It's actually quite easy to skip a month or just cancel the subscription altogether. Here's why. There's no long-term commitment. It's billed month to month. That means you stay in control. You decide you don't want a kit one month or ever again, you simply stop. Skipping a month is simple. Although from my experience, I always get FOMO and I don't skip, but maybe you're going on vacation, you have too many kits already, or the theme that month you're just not into. Paper Pumpkin lets you skip a month without canceling entirely. Come back later when you do want one. You can cancel online in just minutes. You don't have to call customer service, mail anything in, or jump through any kind of hoops. You simply log into your account, go to your Paper Pumpkin subscription settings, click pause or cancel. The whole process is designed to be straightforward and very user-friendly. So then once you cancel, you can start up again without any penalties or anything like that. You won't be charged again if you decide you want to cancel completely. There's no surprises on your credit cards later. If you skip instead of cancel, you still won't be charged for the month that you skipped. So if you're curious about becoming a Paper Pumpkin subscriber and you don't currently have a Stampin' Up demonstrator, please let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to answer any more questions that you might have and or get you signed up to start receiving your own monthly crafty happy mail. That being said, if you have any other questions, if you want to know anything else about the cards that I made today, drop me a line in the comments below and I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Other than that, folks, stay happy, stay crafty, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.